USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
President Trump's expected to unveil plans to restart the economy perhaps before the day is over. At a White House briefing yesterday, the president said many parts of the nation are past the peak of the outbreak, and he credited the administration's aggressive strategy, in his words, of confronting the virus for limiting its spread. Many businesses across the U.S. have been shut down for weeks now to try to curb the pandemic, and many governors are taking issue with President Trump. They say they have the final say in when those stay-at-home orders are lifted. The president weighed in on those stimulus checks bearing his name. During the briefing yesterday, he said he doesn't think the decision to add his name to the checks will delay anything.
I don't imagine it's a big deal. I'm sure people will be very happy to get a big, fat, beautiful check and my name is on it.
USA Radio News.
Balance of Nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
I attribute your product to keeping me cold-free. I've been on it for at least 2 years. I have not had a cold since, nor have I ever had flu, and my health is good. So I attribute that to my good health. The product is excellent.
Balance of Nature is now offering 35% off on any new preferred order. Go to balanceofnature.com today and use discount code USA.
Hi, this is Dr. Phil. The new coronavirus called COVID-19 is spreading in China and beyond. While CDC is working to stop the spread of the virus, we can all play a role in stopping this deadly disease. The CDC Foundation is a nonprofit organization supporting emergency response efforts in the United States and around the world. To get updates and learn how to protect friends and loved ones, find out how to help by going to cdcfoundation.org.
This morning, we'll be getting a look at the number of Americans who filed for unemployment benefits last week as the nation continues to struggle with the COVID-19 pandemic. Most analysts expect that number to come in at about 5 million. In a normal week in recent times, that number would have been around 200,000. A new wristband is being tested that vibrates when the wearer becomes within 6 feet of another person. A dozen workers at a Ford factory in Michigan are trying out the buzzing wristbands to try to help them maintain social distance guidelines during the pandemic, and it's one of several safety ideas that Ford is considering as it prepares to resume production next month. Chicago's getting a break from snow today. Yesterday, over a dozen people were hurt in a pileup involving nearly 60 vehicles on the Kennedy Expressway, blamed on the slick roads. And you're listening to USA Radio News.
Broadcasting worldwide from the Ashby Real Estate Broadcast Studio. This is HIP Radio Network, Georgetown, your hometown station.
Here's your Georgetown forecast from the HIP Radio Network Weather Center. Partly cloudy skies today with daytime highs approaching 75. South winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 61 tonight. Overcast skies. Cloudy again tomorrow. Chance for scattered thunderstorms 68. Upper 60s Saturday, mid-80s by Sunday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Frombley. Currently, it's 46 degrees.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The switch is on. Welcome to Good Morning Georgetown with Rob and Ken. Waking you up in the mornings and getting your day started with the hottest hits, news, and jokes. Get ready. And now here's your hosts, Rob Hip and Ken Covington.
It's actually Chris Courtney this morning, our Thursday co-host here on Good Morning Georgetown. Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you into the show here on a Thursday morning. It is chilly outside, but we're going to have another beautiful day here in Georgetown, Texas. Again, I want to welcome everybody here to Good Morning Georgetown. It's always our true joy, honor, and privilege to bring you this show every weekday morning, keeping you up to date. It's day 32. I've ran out of toilet paper, Chris. Luckily, I have a bidet, though, so everything is good. Chris, what's going on, man? Chris Courtney Home Inspections in the house.
Good morning, everyone. Everything's going good. Just keep grinding out those home inspections.
Hey, man, how many have you done now, man? Well, don't give away numbers, but I mean, you're staying busy. Give away numbers. How many have you done?
Since probably 3 weeks ago, I've probably done 20.
Man, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well, the market for you, no signs of slowing down, huh?
No. It's like this pandemic hasn't even happened for my business, which I'm blessed for that to have happened. And my wife is also in the mortgage business, so she hasn't slowed down either. So we've just been blessed to be in the right business during this time.
Well, man, I'm glad everything's continuing to rock and roll for you, my friend. There's a lot of folks out there that are working hard trying to get through this. There's other industries that are doing really well right now, and I know that you care about all those folks, Chris. You're a good guy. You're very humble, and I know that you count your blessings every day, my brother. Because we went through a pretty rough vetting process. You know, whenever you told me, you said, "Hey, I'd love to be a co-host." When I was reaching out looking for co-hosts during the week, we went through that really strict vetting process that took about 2 months. I mean, it was brutal, man. I think you may even have we may have got a little violent there. Some punches were thrown.
Right, yeah.
Some earaches. I had to buy you some new glasses. You had to buy me a new nose. I mean, it was pretty rough, man.
It was rough, man.
Just kidding. It was easy to pick Chris Courtney, man. So I appreciate you being here.
Hey, my pleasure.
Every Thursday. I heard something on that USA Radio news break. You know, we always do the little news breaks at the top of the hour when we go live. And I heard something on that just, you probably saw me laughing about it.
I did. I was laughing.
I was wondering what in the heck is going on, because I didn't know about this. President Trump's name is going to be on those. You know, a lot of people are getting direct deposits. I'm surprised that he didn't figure out a name. You know how when you get a direct deposit, there's like a description?
Right. Yeah.
I'm surprised that he didn't figure out how to put his name on the ACH description. You know? But President Trump, look, I'm not bashing the president or anything. I'm just straight up telling you. I always say straight up. I'm just straight up telling you, I had no clue that his name was being put on the checks that are the physical checks that are getting mailed out if you're going that route. Did you know that?
I didn't. I just found out yesterday that these stimulus checks were being sent out by my mom. So she just wanted to make sure my kids got their share.
Well, if you would have listened to Good Morning Georgetown, you would have known that right away, Chris, because that was
I was on a home inspection at 8:00 in the morning yesterday.
Well, hey, we got the audio app. You can put in your earbuds and just pay attention to the show while home inspection.
I tried that once on a home inspection, put my earbuds on and listening. But someone walked in on me and scared the living daylights out of me. So I don't listen to anything when I'm on my home inspections because, at one time I was under a house in a crawl space and I completely locked the entire house when I went under the crawl space. And I'm under the crawl space and I hear someone walking across the floor.
Oh my God.
And I about just crap myself.
There's no other way to describe it, man. Have you ever seen any snakes or any animals, anything like that under a house?
Not yet. I had to crawl one under yesterday. It was a 1938 house in Austin off of 32nd Street.
How cool is that? Is it a little nerve-wracking though, being under those?
It's a little nerve-wracking. Yeah.
Charge an extra fee for those, a little under the.
Oh yeah.
Little under the carriage fee there.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're having fun this morning already. I love having Chris on the show. I love all of our co-hosts, but I like having Chris on especially too because we have a lot of fun. We joke around, and we're going to have a lot of fun here today. We're talking to Chris Courtney at Courtney Home Inspections. He is our Thursday co-host here on Good Morning Georgetown. We're going to have a good friend of ours, Richard De La Vega of ASA Imagery, joining us as our guest at 8 a.m., and we'll bring him into the broadcast here in just a little over 30 minutes or so. Let's get back to this Donald Trump situation this morning. I like reading it. I like reading different news sources because there's some news sources that are, that are supportive, and then there's other news sources that just kind of blow everything out of the proportion. Both of them do, let's be honest. Both of them kind of make up stuff to make it sound better to appeal to their audience.
Is there anything right down the middle at all?
Yeah, C-SPAN. They just turn on the camera and nobody talks except the people who are supposed to be there, So it's, if you want to watch boring news, put it on C-SPAN,
NPR.
Yeah, NPR and C-SPAN. We've just lost about 30 viewers. Man, we shouldn't have said anything. I'm just kidding, guys. Hey, I wanted to welcome Joe Stevens also this morning. He had texted me on Facebook just a few moments ago, and I hope you're doing well, Joe. He said, hey, man, the Hip Radio app is awesome. I love listening to it. Just found it a couple of days ago. Well, Joe, I hope you're doing good, man, and thank you for letting me know about that. You know, this show, of course, we stream it live on Facebook, but I always say this because there's always somebody new that's watching or listening that this show is more than just a Facebook live stream. We stream Hip Radio Network, catered to Georgetown. We advertise it as Georgetown's hometown radio station. We run this station 24/7, 365. Now, Chris doesn't listen a whole lot because we don't play his flavor of music. He's not a kind of an Alan Jackson, Chattahoochee type guy, are you, man?
Oh, I like that song.
Oh, you do? Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. I have that on my playlist.
Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
I like that song.
It gets hotter than Chris Courtney's home inspections. We always have to sing every morning. Well, I'm glad you like that song. Maybe I'll start playing it more often. Chris, you're more of a classic rock type guy, though, right?
Yeah. Classic rock, alternative 80s.
Kind of any hardcore hip-hop, rap music?
80s, have hardcore,
okay,
hip-hop and rap music, yeah, from the 80s.
You know what I like about back in the day, the hip-hop music, it was like poetic. And it was about, a lot of it was about struggles that people go through. And now it's completely changed. It's nothing what it used to be, man. And so I quit. I don't listen to the new stuff. The old stuff, bro, I was down. I'm going to straight up tell you right now, I was down.
Eric B. and Rakim.
I used to bust out a lot of that on karaoke, by the way. So, anyways. Hey, Brian was asking on the Facebook live stream, what's the app called again? Good morning to you, Brian. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Good to see you, man. I don't have the Spurs gear. Last week I wore Spurs shirts, different Spurs shirt every day of the week. But today I've got a Sertoma meeting that the folks at Sertoma politely asked me, or they asked me, and politely I was very thankful for that opportunity to speak to their club today. Everybody's going virtual, just like us, Chris. Everybody's having to do everything virtual. And so I'm going to speak to the virtually. I'm going to speak to Sertoma today with a little bit of program about what's going on in Georgetown. So I was very thankful that they asked me to speak because I was like, man, who wants to hear me talk? I talk every morning. So I'm thankful for that opportunity, Chris. So we'll see how it goes. But Brian, the app, to answer your question, because ADD is flowing this morning as well, the app is Hip Radio Network. You can find it on Google Play. You can also find it on on your Apple device if you've got an Apple also. It's just HIP, H-I-P-P, Hip Radio Network. And you'll hear music. When this show's not on, and we'll go right back to music, and you'll hear a lot of our wonderful sponsors that make this station possible. Courtney Home Inspections, one of those sponsors. And so you'll hear those sponsors about we run sponsorships about 4 times on the hour, never longer than 4 minutes. But you'll hear a lot of great music, country, a little bit of pop, a lot of country, a little bit of pop, and you'll hear some classic rock thrown in there because we got to keep Chris Courtney tuned in once in a while. So we'll throw it in there for you, brother. All right, Chris, let's get back to what I started on 10 minutes ago before the ADD started flowing like milk and honey this morning. This is from the Washington Post. I'm going back earlier because you'll read stuff on Fox News that's like, in a great move, President Trump puts his name on a checks, and then in the Washington Post is like, in an unprecedented move, slowing down stimulus payments, President Trump putting his name on checks. And it just shows this horrible, awful picture of Donald Trump with everybody clapping behind him, and he just has this. It's funny. You go to the Washington Post, and there's just all these pictures that he's never smiling, and then you go to Fox News, and he's always smiling. But then like 2 seconds later, he's smiling probably in this same scene, but the Post shows the one where he's not smiling. He's reaching down. Looks like he's reaching into a cigar box. Might be. I would be, Treasury Department, this is from the Washington Post, by the way. We don't want to plagiarize. We're just straight up reading it. Treasury Department has ordered President Trump's name printed on stimulus. You got that stimulus check yet, Bill? Bill, you got that stimulus in your bank account yet, Bill? That stimulus? Bill, it's not stimulus, it's stimulus. The Treasury Department has ordered President Trump's name printed on stimulus checks. The Internal Revenues, golly, I can't even, Internal Revenues. The Internal Revenue Service is rushing to send tens of millions of Americans a process, oh, here we go, Chris, that could slow down delivery by a few days. The unprecedented decision, finalized late Monday, means that when recipients open the $1,200 paper checks, if you get one of those, if you didn't do direct deposit, they're going to send them to 70 million Americans in the coming days. President Donald J. Trump will appear on the left side of the payment. Chris, this will be the first time a president's name appears on an IRS disbursement. Whether a routine refund or one handful of checks the government has issued to taxpayers in recent decades, either to stimulate a down economy or share the dividends of a strong one. Treasury officials disputed that the checks, of course, would be delayed. So you're going to get, man, I almost want a paper check now.
You know what? I'm glad I've got direct deposit.
Chris, I really almost want a paper check. I'll put that bad boy up on eBay after I catch it, write void on it. That's a little bit of, that's history right there.
But you do realize those paper checks probably won't show up until late summer.
Yeah. A little bit more here. While some people receiving the checks, the centerpiece of the U.S. government's economic relief package to stave off the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, may not care or observe whose name appears on them, the decision is another sign of Trump's effort to cast his response to the pandemic in political terms. Trump had privately suggested to the Treasury Secretary, Stephen Mnuchin, who oversees the IRS, that he allow the president to formally sign the checks. According to 3 administration officials. Oh, here we go, Chris. We always have this. According to 3 administration officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity, of course, it's always anonymous, because they were not authorized to speak publicly. Everything you hear out of Washington is anonymous. But the president is not an authorized signer for legal disbursements by the U.S. Treasury. It is a standard practice for a civil servant to sign the checks issued by the Treasury Department to ensure that government payments are nonpartisan. Oh, there we go. Well, if that's the case, then I guess that's kind of a twofold, because to ensure the government payments are nonpartisan. Well, what is on every single piece of U.S. currency? It's a president.
U.S. Treasury.
Well, there's Treasury, but there's a president. There's a picture of a president.
But he didn't sign it.
Yeah, it was pictures on it. How's that? You know,
let's put Donald Trump's picture on the checks.
Put Donald Trump on a quarter. That'll happen next. That's coming up next. with that horribly awful signature. Oh man. Have you ever ate, let's talk about it. Have you ever eaten flax seed?
Yeah.
Or
not by itself though.
Okay. Well, not just okay. Let's take another approach to this. Have you ever eaten a sesame seed bun? You know, those aren't popular anymore like they used to be. You don't find sesame buns hardly at all anymore. You know, on like Whataburger or Burger.
I like them.
They're on Burger King, but I quit eating that. So let's just think about this. Like, let's say that you're eating a bunch of flaxseed or sesame seeds and you sneeze on and it accidentally goes on a piece of paper. That's what Donald Trump's signature looks like. I can't even understand what it says, man. Craziest thing ever, man. Pretty crazy stuff. Anyways, that's what's the news this morning. Oh, man, I got a granddaddy long leg in here flying around. Go ahead, Chris.
So I got every Thursday, I'm going to do this day in history.
Yeah, please do that, because you got Ken does that and Josh does that. So we need you to continue that legacy.
So, I'm going to read off one of the websites. In 1922, Prohibition Department is to enforce the law, making it illegal to manufacture beer or wine in the home for use. This follows the Supreme Court that home brewing is illegal. This date in 1922.
1922 was the day that Zoloft was founded, because nobody could drink anymore in their own homes. Did you get that joke, Chris? That was the worst joke ever.
That was a worst joke, yeah.
That's horrible. I'm just going to shut the show off. You know, I go on the show for like 10 minutes, and then I'm already ready to shut it off.
Also on this date in 2007, it was the tragic Virginia Tech school shooting.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
So on that, did you know that March was the first month since 2003 that there hasn't been a school shooting.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, no, I did not know that. So there has been one every month since 2003?
3.
I had no clue, man. And see, it's sad, Chris, because it almost is like you hear about that in the news so often now, and it's so tragic because we gloss over so many things now just because things happen so frequently that it's almost
they
like
become normal.
Yeah, become normal, and people become numb to it in a way, unless it affects you directly, of course, and that's just
it becomes non-news.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Exactly, man. Well, hopefully that'll stay the trend. You know, I think right now a lot of people are coming. Of course, schools have been closed, but I hope that people will continue to come together after this, and that's what worries me the most, Chris. And it's just human nature, I guess. But we come together in times of tragedy. I've mentioned it here on the show numerous times. We come together in times of tragedy. We need to come together in times of triumph as well.
Mm-hmm.
When things are rocking and rolling, we need to come together. You know, as a believer, for me as a Christian, it's funny because, and I'm guilty of this, but it's like a lot of us who are Christians will pray when things are bad, but we forget to pray in a way when things are good. It's just the same concept. When things are good, you always need to be thankful. You always need to be praying if you're a Christian. Look, man, that's what it's about, is just us coming together. So, hey, going back to your prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on prohibition since January.
How's that going?
It's going, well, it's a little, some days are testy, but it's actually, I'm just kidding. It's actually going really good, man.
Good.
Doctor told me he's like, not a drop. Because of the pancreas thing. It's like not a drop. And so I haven't. And I really have no desire. You know, I used to.
But is it permanent, or is it until it heals itself?
I think I'm already pretty much healed, to be honest. I mean, my stomach still hurts a little bit.
Okay.
But I just choose now. You know, it's been a while. I just choose. I was like, for me, there's nothing wrong with having a few drinks. For me, sometimes it would get I'll just be honest and open. I mean, for me, sometimes it'd get a little out of hand. You know, and I just realized I was like, I don't really want to go down that path, man. Life's too short.
Yeah,
I want to keep rocking and rolling, man.
Yeah,
so.
It's never fun to be. I drink, but I don't drink to the point where I'm drunk,
inebriated.
I'll have like 1 or 2 beers a night, or 1 glass of scotch or whiskey with a cigar every once in a while, but that's about it.
A little bit of scotch and a cigar.
Scotch and a cigar.
Scotch and a cigar.
It's one of my vices.
There you go. Well, hey, root beer. That came out like I just turned 16 years old. Root beer. Root beer. Here, check this out. Root beer, of course, a sweet North American beverage traditionally made using the root bark of saffrous trees. Or if you want to be technically correct, it's called Saffrus ibidium. I probably pronounced that wrong. Or the vine of Smilax ornata. And that's probably not even Spanish. I just like to say it like it was Spanish. Sarsaparilla, the primary flavor. Root beer typically, but not exclusively, non-alcoholic. Now, there was that Not Your Father's root beer. Have you heard of that stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was good. I'm going to tell you that stuff was so good. So root beer really, though, you mentioned prohibition. Pharmacist Charles Elmer Hires was the first to successfully market a commercial brand of root beer. Is Hires root beer still around? I've heard of them before.
Not sure.
That really has me thinking. Hires, I think that they are. Let's look here. Yeah, they are. Wow. It's owned by Dr. Pepper Snapple Group.
Makes sense.
That is pretty cool, man.
So they brewed root beer during Prohibition to make up for all the beer that they couldn't drink.
Yeah, but check this out, man. Hires root beer, of course by Dr. Pepper now, introduced in 1876. It's considered the second longest continuously made soft drink in the United States. Only Berner's Ginger Ale, dating back to about a decade earlier in 1866, is older. There's a little bit of soda pop history for you, big guy.
Wow.
There's a little bit of soda pop history for you there, Chris, big guy. Little soda pop. Little soda pop for you, Charlie. That is pretty cool, man. Going back to root beer, though. Hires was the first one to develop it commercially, or to market it commercially. He developed his root tea made from saffron in 1875, debuted a commercial version of root beer at the Philadelphia Sentinel Exposition in 1876, and began selling his extract. Hires was a, what is that? A teetotaler. Never heard. Oh, I guess you total tea. You teetotaler. Well, old Hires was a teetotaler who wanted to call the beverage root tea. However, his desire to market the product to Pennsylvania coal miners, I did not know this, caused him to call his product root beer. That's really cool history there.
That's cool.
Instead, in 1866, Hires began to bottle a beverage made from his famous extract. By 1893, root beer was distributed widely across the United States. Non-alcoholic versions of root beer became commercially successful, especially during Prohibition. It's all about the marketing. I guarantee it was because it had the name beer in it.
Beer. Yeah.
Root beer. Y'all want to come over here and get some root beer, Billy? Come on, Billy, get some root beer this morning. Dude, I love root beer. You know what? They always say Diet Dr. Pepper tastes like the real thing. I'm gonna tell you right now what really tastes like the real thing. Diet A&W root beer, baby. Drink it.
I'm not a big root beer fan.
Drink it, baby. Diet root beer, man. So pretty cool here. Hey, I want to give a shout out to everybody joining us. Jeffrey Black, Lijan Wilson, good morning to you. Richard De La Vega, good morning. Rebecca Morrow, good morning. Javier Pineda saying good morning. Good morning, Javier. What's up, Javi? Marshall Moore, good morning, Marshall. What's going on, my brother? Lijan telling us happy Thursday. Ann Kaiser joining us. Brian Harris. Miss D. Everett in Huntsville, Texas. Good morning to you and Steve. Miss D, I hope y'all are doing okay. Jason Worth saying good morning to us. Brian Burkhart, Sarah Richards, Matthew Broussard. Good morning, Matthew. Laura Hope Benner joining us. Stephen Giorgio, good morning, brother. He always says Robin Hip every morning. He always tells me that, Chris.
Robin Hip.
Robin Hip. Blake Brennan joining us. Good morning. That's my brother-in-law right there, boy. You better watch out now. Get on down now. Watch out now. Blake Brennan joining us. Bubba Vidier, good morning. John Montgomery over at Roberts Printing. Brian Harris downloading the app. Thank you, Brian. Paula Brent, one of our amazing sponsors here with the Power of 4 Team Realty, joining us this morning. They do so much in the community. They give back to the community as well. We appreciate you, Paula. Good morning. Michael Price, the Georgetown Beard Club. Matt Waite, Jake Posey joining us. Sick'em Jake. Baylor Bear in the house. That's what I'm talking about. I was a little bummed out, Chris, because this whole basketball situation, and Baylor had such a great year this year in basketball. They were number one there for a couple of weeks, and I was excited to see how far Baylor was going to go in the tournament, and they didn't go anywhere, and nobody did.
No one did.
Nobody did. Paulo's talking about several people already receiving their stimulus money, saying good morning to us. Adam Brindley, what's going on, my friend? Pete Zinner joining us. Alexi Carrasquillo. John was talking about, I think, every March since 2002. I'm not sure. Maybe that was going
Maybe
back.
It was 2002.
That may have been I'm not sure, John, what that's in regards to. But good morning to
the
you.
school shooting.
Might have been, yeah. Good morning to you, man. From Roberts Printing Company, one of our sponsors here on HRN. Chris Davis. John Hicks saying good morning. What's up, John? John, I got to get you on the show sometime, if you don't mind, if you're still watching this morning. I met John way back in the day. This is what I love about, I talk about this too, the power of Facebook and social media, Chris. I met John, man, it's probably been 3 or 4 years ago now, because I would think it was like last year, but time flies so fast, it's probably more like 3 or 4 years ago. Met John. He is in the travel business, and I would love to have John come on the show and talk about that industry and what has been happening due to COVID-19. John is an awesome guy, man, and I would love to have you on sometime, John. So send me a Facebook private message if you don't mind, if you're still on the show this morning, and let's chat about that. Monica Ann joining us. Good morning. Sam Russell joining us. Michael Price with his official Morning Lads heading our way. Monica saying good morning. Johnny Reach, morning, y'all. What's up, Johnny? Hope you're doing okay, my friend. And last but certainly not least, one of my favorite teachers back, and she's going to say, Rob, you don't even remember high school. But I do, Miss Woodley. It's Martha Woodley joining us. And she was an amazing teacher and kept me in line, kept me out of trouble. So good morning to you, Miss Woodley. That is our morning Facebook shout-outs here at 7:48 a.m. See, if you're on Facebook, you get the shout-out. And so we gave it to you here this morning. Matt Morrow also joining us as well just now. So thank you all for joining us here this morning. So, Chris, I wanted to talk a little bit about something else this morning. We got Richard De La Vega coming on at 7:48. Have you had time during? I mean, probably maybe not as much for you because you've been out. You've been active. You've been able to still get out there and work every day. But I've had this happen, even though I have the morning show every morning. There's a new study out that's showing more and more Americans are forgetting what day it is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, has that been a problem for you?
Not for me, because I'm such a OCD person, and I'm always doing banking every morning and everything like that. So I always know what day it is. But my wife is having trouble remembering what day it is and what's going on. And, I can see that happening. I've called people and they're like, what day is it again? So, yeah, it's I can see that. I mean, what's a weekend now? There is no weekend here. You're at home.
Yeah, and what's up with kids? I know that they're doing school from home, but I asked my neighbor yesterday. Her son was out, and I was talking to him. She let me borrow her lawnmower to mow the lawn, then I ended up breaking her self-propelled. Now I got to fix that. It's one of those things. I hate that, man, because I'm just using it, and halfway through the mowing, I didn't do anything. Just halfway through, I realized, man, this mower's really getting hard to push. I look down and the wheels aren't spinning on the self-propelled. Oh, man, the problems we have here in the United States. Oh, man. And so I feel terrible because, I'm real cautious about who I lend out my tools to because I don't want to. I used back in the day, I lend to everybody, and they always come back broken. You work hard for your tools, man.
Yeah.
So I felt terrible. I told her, I was like, self-propulsion on the lawnmower is not working anymore. She goes, okay. And I told her I'd fix it. I don't know what happened. I think just the cable got loose or maybe the belt. That happened to my old mower back in the day. But this is one of these lawn boy mowers where it's not simple, like a little plastic cover on the top that you just unbolt. And for whatever reason, these sometimes they like to backwards engineer things and make it the hardest way possible to get into something. Just like Apple, all of their products, it's basically got to throw them up against a brick wall to get them to open up. And I was looking at a YouTube video. I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's not that difficult, but it's just more tedious than anything.
Yeah.
So I'll be fixing her self-propulsion. Hopefully I can fix
I'll give you something to do.
Yeah, give me something to do. But I appreciate her letting me borrow. But her son was out. I don't even know why I started talking about that. What were we talking about?
I don't know. Weekdays, knowing what day it is.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Thank you. Yeah. So her son was outside, and her son, I believe, is in the 5th grade. It's funny because I couldn't start the lawnmower. He's like, let me try. I'll show you how to do it. And he pulls it once, and it starts. I told him, I said, that's because I...
How'd that make you feel, Rob?
Yeah, I told him. I said, Nate, that's because I pulled the handle like 10 times already, so it was ready for you, but I didn't.
You primed it.
Yeah. You know what, man? I didn't take that joy away from him. He started that lawnmower. He's a great young man.
There you go.
I love living in the same neighborhood. I've been in the same house for 15 years now, and I love it because I've got to see these kids grow up from when they were pretty much a baby. Yeah. When they came home from the hospital, now you see them grow up, and it's just amazing how fast time flies, But
oh yeah.
It reminds me to take a step back, Chris, and just be thankful for everything that's around us. And I've really tried to start studying how to make time go slower. I've read books on how to slow down time. And every book basically says the same thing. It's be mindful of what's around you and just really take a deep breath and look at things that are around you. Literally stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
So that's one way you slow down time.
Yep.
But no, going back to Nate, I was talking to him, and I asked him, I said, you got to be pretty bummed out. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, you haven't been to school in like a month. He goes, yeah, I want to go back to school. And you talk to so many kids now, and most of them say that. Normally kids are like, I don't want spring break to be over.
It's going to give them a new appreciation of what they actually have at school.
Most kids want to go back to school. They miss their friends. They miss learning. And it's easier to learn in school, in my opinion, than it is if you're used to that,
So what's disappointing is really for all the seniors, both in high school and college, and what they're going through in their last years.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because it is.
My 18-year-old twin daughters graduate this year. No prom, no graduation ceremony. My wife and I were talking yesterday. I think they should let the seniors go back to school, only the seniors, just to do it safely. They can spread out the classrooms, utilize the entire school to kind of maybe have some sort of closure to their year that they don't have right now. It sucks.
I've got to wonder, kind of on the mind type of things, on the mental side, how that affects, because that's something that when you're a kid that you look forward to. I know I did, and I'm pretty sure every other person can say this, that when you're growing up, you look forward to your senior year in high school.
Yeah, senior's the funnest year to be in high school.
It's the year you get away with everything. I don't even think I was in class my senior year, to be honest. I left school.
I only had 3 classes my senior year. I was at the beach before they got out for lunch.
Nice. See, in Georgetown back in the day, we still had Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, and we had all the junk food there. And that was before everything started getting healthy. And there's Richard. What's up, Richard? We'll bring you on in a little bit. Richard de la Vega popping in on us. Chris, say something. That'll pop Richard off.
Hey, Richard, how you doing?
Hey, buddy.
There we go. We'll bring Richard on around the 8 a.m. hour. We'll have him on as our special guest here. Let me pin your video here. Appreciate Richard joining us this morning. But yeah, man, my senior year, it was a blur. I remember a lot of it. I remember a lot of it, especially because it was 9/11, unfortunately, and so I remember a lot about that because I graduated in 2002. But I'm going to tell you, Chris, you just have to wonder how is that going to affect a lot of these kiddos, and I hopefully that we'll have a lot of counselors and folks that can help them out, because I know there's going to be some that are going to struggle with that.
Yeah, and the parents are going to need some help too.
Yeah. So, how was your son's first year in college this year? Is that right?
Yeah. He's disappointed that the season ended. He was really looking forward to playing baseball because that's his passion. So he's struggling with that. They're all at home except for my daughter, who's up in Kansas City in her third year of college. So,
man, yeah, it's going to be tough, man. And you mentioned something earlier, about the seniors, and that's what we've been talking about here for the last 5 minutes. Look, guys, I'm going to tell you this morning. Don't get upset. I'm seeing so many adults posting their senior pictures right now on Facebook.
Yeah, me too.
Look, guys, I love y'all, but just let the post senior. This is a time for like the seniors this year, not seniors 20 years ago.
Post your seniors picture, even if you have to go out and take a nice picture.
It's a trend that started. And just for me, look, it's okay to not agree with something, but I saw that, and I'm like, if you want to do that, wait a couple of months. We're trying to focus on the seniors this year,
because
what they're dealing with.
They're not being focused on.
Yeah, they're not. They're at home, and they want to be back and doing things. And so that's just my challenge this morning. And here's a flip side of that, though, Chris. How many seniors in high school actually use Facebook? That's the thing. There's not...
not too many.
More of them are Instagram and Twitter is the big pop
and
now.
Snapchat.
Yeah, Snapchat and all that. That's crazy. Yeah, when I was in high school, it was MySpace had just started, barely started. MySpace was the big deal. Everybody was friends with Tom. Did you ever get on MySpace?
I didn't. No.
MySpace was really like the first breakthrough social media, and I had this idea in high school. It got really popular after I graduated. Golly, that was so cool, because when I was in school, people aren't connected like they are now. It was actually a lot less stressful,
if I could go back, I would. I'd go back to before cell phones.
I've always wanted to do the research on this, and I know that for many it's a very serious subject, and I'm not making light of this at all. I'm wondering if, because of how connected we are and how technology is these days, I would like to see divorce numbers. Honestly, are more people getting divorced now that we are so connected? Because look, let's be honest. I mean, there's people who haven't seen a high school friend since 20 years ago, 30 years. And then social media has enabled them to reconnect. I've always wondered, I'm sure there's probably a study out there somewhere, and I'm not making light of this, but I've always felt like To me, marriage is a very serious thing, and a lot of folks go through divorce, and I understand that things happen, and I've never went through that. I haven't even been married.
I went through it.
Yeah, and I know it's a very tough thing for a lot of folks, and so I'm not making light of that. I just wonder though, if there's a study that's been done out there that has attributed a high divorce rate, related to technology. I've always thought that.
Well, all you'd really have to do is research the divorce rate per year and see the average divorce rate per year and see when it goes up. Because you'll know when technology starts to hit.
Yeah.
You can probably make that correlation.
Yeah. Maybe it was back in the day, those dating lines. You remember the 800 dating lines where you call
party lines?
Yeah, well, there was the phone numbers, and I'm not talking about the naughty numbers, okay?
No.
I'm talking about there was voicemail services. You could call an 800 number, and they were on. I remember seeing them on regular TV. It's like, hey, looking for a date tonight? Call 1-800 da da da. And it wasn't like the bad ones. It was legitimate dating phone numbers that you call and you leave. It was like you leave voicemails on these mailboxes, and you sit there. And I did it as a joke. I mean, I listened to them once. When I was like a senior in high school, we dialed one of them, and there's like 100. You go through like 100 voice, and if you hear one you like press 1. And then it eventually links, and then you can. It's like email, I guess, over the phone, but with your voice. It's kind of crazy. You remember that kind of stuff?
Creepy.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, we had party lines. So you'd call this 1-800 number or this specific number, and you'd get on the party line, and there'd be like 40, 50, 60 people on the phone, all on the same conversation, trying to talk to each other. It was crazy.
That's funny. Steven messaged, good morning to you, Steve. I did not find that picture. I've got to dig it up. I was trying to find a senior picture that Steven Giorgio and I had. He said it. Steven, remember. Steven, you probably called it all the time. I'm just kidding, man. Quest. That was it. It was Quest. That was one of them. I remember seeing their commercials. Quest. Looking for a date? Call Quest. That's awesome, man. He said, Steven, he did call him. Look, he said, I used to disguise my voice as, I could see you doing this, Steven. I have no doubt that you did this. I used to disguise my voice as a woman and prank guys in there. Oh, man. Somewhere, Chris, That's somewhere funny. That those things still exist. They have to.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
probably
man.
not.
I'm going to look that up. How about we do? I'm going to look that up for the next show. Maybe not tomorrow, but next week. I'm going to look that up. I'm going to try to look up the divorce rate numbers that we talked about. Because I really want to.
Right.
I really want to circle to that, but I really want to look up and see if there are those dating 800 phone numbers. And I'm not talking about the dirty ones. I'm talking about the regular dating ones. It's, oh man, that's got to be funny if they're still around there. So, well, hey, we're going to step aside. It's 8:01 a.m. We'll take our news break. We'll have station identification. Yeah, go ahead, man. Oh, yeah.
Before we get off video, I just want to give a shout out to Mickey Ross, who's making face masks for everybody who needs them and donating the money to charity. I went by her house Tuesday to pick up the face masks I ordered. Really cool system. She just puts them on the door with tape, left my money. And that way we can all stay safe out there. And got 4 of them, one for each of my kids and my wife. So shout out to Mickey Ross. Thank you. You're doing a wonderful job. Keep it up.
Hey, can you show that a little bit more on the camera? It's beautiful stitch work. She is amazing at these. I know it's kind of, yeah.
And it's double-sided, so depending on your mood,
You can go polka or you can go...
Polka, baseball.
Oh.
I had double flower prints for my wife done. So she does all different kinds of prints and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Did you request baseball or did it just happen that way?
Well, I asked her for at least one of them to be a manly type print. So I didn't walk around with floral flowers on my face. And she said, how about baseball? I said, yeah, it works.
Bridget's making fun of me the other day. Because Miss Zinner, I appreciate you, Nancy. I've been wearing this. I made one, and it's got strawberries, watermelons, and apples or cherries on it. And I've been wearing it in public, and I enjoy it. So that's the one there. Chris, thank you. Yeah, and thank you, Mickey Ross. I tagged her there and said thank you for that. So we'll step aside and take a break. We'll take our scheduled break here as we're at the top of the hour. We'll go over some news across the nation. We'll also have a weather update. Stay with us, friends. This is KHJO GTDB. It's Georgetown's hometown radio station here this morning, Hip Radio Network. It's Good Morning Georgetown. We'll be back. We'll bring on Richard De La Vega here in just a little bit. Stay with us, friends. We'll be back in a moment.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
President Trump's expected to unveil plans to restart the economy perhaps before the day is over. At a White House briefing yesterday, the president said many parts of the nation are past the peak of the outbreak, and he credited the administration's aggressive strategy, in his words, of confronting the virus for limiting its spread. Many businesses across the U.S. have been shut down for weeks now to try to curb the pandemic, and many governors are taking issue with President Trump. They say they have the final say in when those stay-at-home orders are lifted. The president weighed in on those stimulus checks bearing his name during the briefing yesterday. He said he doesn't think the decision to add his name to the checks will delay anything.
I don't imagine it's a big deal. I'm sure people will be very happy to get a big, fat, beautiful check and my name is on it.
USA Radio News.
Balance of Nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
I attribute your product to keeping me cold-free. I've been on it for at least 2 years. I have not had a cold since, nor have I ever had flu, and my health is good. So I attribute that to my good health. The product is excellent.
Balance of Nature is now offering 35% off on any new preferred order. Go to balanceofnature.com today and use discount code USA.
Hi, this is Dr. Phil. The new coronavirus called COVID-19 is spreading in China and beyond. While CDC is working to stop the spread of the virus, we can all play a role in stopping this deadly disease. The CDC Foundation is a nonprofit organization supporting emergency response efforts in the United States and around the world. To get updates and learn how to protect friends and loved ones, find out how to help by going to cdcfoundation.org.
This morning, we'll be getting a look at the number of Americans who filed for unemployment benefits last week as the nation continues to struggle with the COVID-19 pandemic. Most analysts expect that number to come in at about 5 million. In a normal week in recent times, that number would have been around 200,000. A new wristband is being tested that vibrates when the wearer becomes within 6 feet of another person. A dozen workers at a Ford factory in Michigan are trying out the buzzing wristbands to try to help them maintain social distance guidelines during the pandemic, and it's one of several safety ideas that Ford is considering as it prepares to resume production next month. Chicago's getting a break from snow today. Yesterday, over a dozen people were hurt in a pileup involving nearly 60 vehicles on the Kennedy Expressway, blamed on the slick roads. And you're listening to USA Radio News.
Here's your Georgetown forecast from the Hip Radio Network Weather Center. Partly cloudy skies today with daytime highs approaching 75. South winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 61 tonight. Overcast skies. Cloudy again tomorrow. Chance for scattered thunderstorms 68. Upper 60s Saturday, mid 80s by Sunday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 46 degrees.
Broadcasting worldwide from the Ashby Real Estate Broadcast Studio. This is Hip Radio Network, Georgetown, your hometown station.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The switch is on. Welcome to Good Morning Georgetown with Rob and Ken. Waking you up in the mornings and getting your day started with the hottest hits, news, and jokes. Get ready. And now here's your hosts, Rob Hip and Ken Covington.
Welcome back, friends. Time now 8:08 a.m. here on KHGTDB, Georgetown's hometown station, as we are bringing you Good Morning Georgetown here. As always, our true honor, joy, and privilege to bring you this show every weekday morning as we're continuing to rock and roll here. Chris Courtney had to step out, but he'll remain on the line with us as he's got some work to do in Killeen, Texas. But he said, look, Rob, I'm still going to stay on the show, so we appreciate that. We're joined, though, now here at the top of the hour. It is our special guest this morning and someone I'm very thankful to have here on the show, Mr. Richard De La Vega of ASA Imagery. Good morning, Richard. How's it going, man?
Good morning, Rob. How are you? Thanks for having me, bud.
Hey, you bet. I'm trying to give me 1 second here, trying to fix some. I may mute Chris just for a second there, Chris. There we go. I think I was getting a little bit of feedback off of Chris's phone there. So we've got Richard De La Vega again here with us this morning from ASA. What's going on in your neck of the woods, man?
Man, we're just trucking one day at a time, seeing how we can stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the day as the beautiful weather is outside.
Richard, looking good, man. I got to tell you, man, the background there, the ASA Imagery logo, looking pretty sharp this morning too. I got to step up my game over here, man.
So, yeah, I learned from you, so I put up from you.
Hey, well, I appreciate it. Well, Richard, I got to know Richard, especially here over the past, I guess, about a year and a half. John Montgomery kind of introduced us together. Richard's got a phenomenal company doing not only just aerial photography, but now getting into virtual tours. Before we dig into all that, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to this area, man. Did you hear me on that? Oh, yeah, there we go.
So I've been around this area. I was born in Georgetown. Are you there?
Yeah,
I was born in Georgetown, raised in East Texas. I came back here about 20 years ago, 30 years ago. My background's actually law enforcement. I was in law enforcement, worked for the sheriff's office for 16 years, and got in the drone business about a year ago. Been flying drones for about 10 years with my son. I have another company, an investigative firm, and so just been around this area. I love this area. This is my home.
And how did you talked about just being a little bit in law enforcement. You've got another business as well, and I'll, of course, plug that one too while we're here this morning. I'd love for you to talk about all of those. Kind of your journey. How'd you get into law enforcement, man?
So my dad's a cop. I was raised by a cop, a Marine, and then just kind of fell into that. And in 2000, I went to the academy and went to work for the sheriff's office and made my career there. Did major crimes investigations for about 9 years.
And then switching gears and now getting, you started an investigations company as well, I believe. Can you mention a little bit about that, Richard?
Sure. I own Step Ahead Investigations. Currently, we have two investigators, two process servers. We do process serving and private investigations, and I have an admin that works for that company that is working remotely now. We're still considered essential. We assist legal law firms, things of that nature. I've kind of stepped away from that a little bit on the owner side, and I'm focused on the ASA Imagery.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm looking through here. I want to show one of your videos here in just a second. One of them was with Mikey V's over at Mikey V's Hot Sauce Shop. Before I show those videos, though, of course, got you on today talking about ASA Imagery. Just a wonderful company that you started. Can you kind of tell us the history about ASA, Richard, and what you specialize in and some of the awesome things that you've been working on, man?
Sure. Yeah. So ASA Imagery was created, it's actually a Step Ahead Imagery LLC, going by ASA Imagery Video Production. So it was created about a year ago. Kind of started on drone pilot. I'm a licensed drone SUAS pilot. Have a citywide waiver for Georgetown's airspace. Of course, we're insured, bonded, all that good stuff. The way it was created is just like everybody else, up 2 o'clock in the morning, can't sleep, CNN commercial from a company called Drone Command, and also went to a seminar on actual business owners and developed the company at that point, and figured out a need to not only take beautiful photographs from the air, the ground, produce videos, things of that nature, but also give back to my community.
You've had some pretty fun projects. I'm going to show a video here in a minute, a little bit of a drone delivery, if you will. talk a little bit about this video that I'm going to, you know which one I'm talking about because the delivery. Talk a little bit about that before I show it and give us a little bit of insight into this video I'm about to show.
Yeah, actually, Albert with the Beer Club, Albert Padilla, sent me a message on Messenger one day, and it was just this funny video where a neighbor was delivering a beer to another neighbor with a drone. And from that, we talked about it for a couple hours, a couple days, and got Mikey V involved and ultimately created this commercial. It was just a fun delivery to make awareness for people to see that, businesses are suffering, they're still open. Come by and shop local.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show that video now, Richard. It's a pretty short video, about a minute long. Take a look at this. And I know that if you're on the app, you're not going to be able to see this. And I'll try to describe it a little bit as it happens whenever there's any silence in the audio.
Hey guys, Mikey V's Hot Sauce Shop, downtown Georgetown. Just to kind of let you guys know, Hot Sauce Shop, we're doing curbside pickup with all of our essentials here, and also our hot sauces and salsas. Just got an order for our brand new hot sauces that just got released. We'll get these things out. So pick them up here, or we can deliver them.
So it's, you can hear some of the music in the background. It's Richard's drone carrying a basket from Mikey V's hot sauce shop through the square, now driving through a neighborhood. This is a really fun, creative video, Richard. I really enjoyed seeing this as it's showing a camera angle driving through a neighborhood. Albert Padilla standing out there with his big, wonderful beard in front of his driveway. And the next scene shows a drone flying up to Albert, delivering the basket with Mikey V's hot sauce stuff in it. That's pretty funny. Albert looks up and waves goodbye to the drone. Richard, that's pretty creative, man. How'd you guys come up with that?
Like I said, it's just, ultimately creative minds think alike, I guess. And his input and my input and Mikey's, and it just kind of all fell together and made a nice little commercial for Mikey and just something enjoyable for people to watch.
I'm going to show another video here of just some of the work that you've done, if you don't mind, Richard, just to show just really the professionalism of a lot of these videos that you have. Again, I know if you're on the app, you can't see this because you're listening audio only, but this is one that you did flying around the Georgetown Square. Let me turn down the volume here a little bit so you can kind of talk to us about this one while this video is showing. That was a real quick video you did where you were flying on the square, Richard, that I'm showing right now.
Yeah, so initially when all of this pandemic started and I like to get input from the Georgetown neighbors and surrounding areas, and ultimately if there's some place they would like to see, then ultimately I would do a video and create that content for people to view, to give them an idea of, get a different view of something other than their front door or their TV.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible, video. Talk to us a little bit. There's things, there's a lot of guys out there that claim that they do aerial photography. You're doing everything the right way. And what I mean by that is you're licensed and you carry insurance. Can you talk to us a little bit about those requirements and what really makes you unique and stand out in your profession, Richard?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So ultimately I'm licensed through the FAA. I had to take an aeronautics exam through the FAA to have a commercial business. And so ultimately, every flight that I do, I call the tower and we have a flight path of where I'm going to fly and what the altitude is going to be, just so there's not any issues with other aircraft. And then when that mission's over, then I communicate with them and make sure we're all good to go. There's an insurance cover on every flight I do for residential, for real estate, whatever the case may be. Not only protects myself, but also protects the client, their property, things like that. If someone flies out of the sky or ultimately I hit something during the time, obviously that's never happened, knock on wood. But yeah, it's all covered.
Yeah, and so Richard there, you're cutting in and out a little bit, but Richard definitely is licensed. Everything that he does covered by insurance, and so you don't have to worry You know, there's a lot of guys like we were talking about earlier that just show up and they record stuff and they video, but it's not going to be very professional if it's not Richard. Let's just be honest. And then two, it's if they don't carry the proper insurance, that puts you at risk and those kind of things, man. So what has been, as we're continuing to talk to Richard De La Vega here this morning of ASA Imagery, he's also one of our sponsors here on HRN. Richard, what's been some of the the fun projects that you've worked on? Talk a little bit about those and what you've really enjoyed the most so far with this business.
I love creating content in general. I love creating content for, real estate agents, realtors, construction progression. Like I just did a progression shot yesterday for Cochran, the Cedro Park, the Cochran commercial, where you go out and fly the project itself. And then we create a video at the end of the actual time lapse of the actual production of the build. Same thing with the real estate agents. On my page, you'll see a lot of real estate. That's the majority of what I do, especially right now. That's supporting them and on the virtual side and the video side. I've taken indoor and outdoor exterior photos as well as aerial and then creating video content for that.
There may be somebody that's watching or listening this morning saying, hey, I need some aerial photography. I've needed somebody that can do it professionally. Not just the kid down the street with the play drone, What has been for you an ideal customer? If somebody was out there and they needed help, what's the ideal customer? How can they get in touch with you, Richard?
So, Rob, I just want to make sure that we point out that it's not just aerial, just so people understand that it's not just aerial photography. It's ground photography. I take ground, interior, exterior photos as well. I just don't do portrait photography. That's somebody like Rudy that's going to take care of you on that deal. But it's a full production, full boat deal. It's from photography to video production itself to marketing. My ideal customer is going to be your real estate agents, your brokers, general contractors, land development things, and then ultimately business to business. Kind of one of the things that I'm doing now with the virtual tour stuff is not only for real estate, so realtors can get that content for the homes that they're selling out to their client by literally a click of a link, but also the business owners to, let people be aware of that we're still here. The businesses that are shut down, they're still here. And here's a virtual tour of the inside of that place. Or if you haven't seen it in a while or they want to promote something of that nature.
Yeah, and I'm showing again, if they're on the audio app, they're not going to be able to see this, unfortunately, but I'm working on here really quick. It's just taking me a second to set this up in the background, and folks there on the YouTube stream will see this. I want you to really, folks out there that are watching, to really pay attention to this, and Richard can kind of talk to us about this. I know that you can't see exactly what I'm showing either, Richard, but you can kind of talk to us about these virtual tours, because I'll flip that over now on the YouTube stream so folks can see this. Now, we're looking at, it's kind of like a Google Maps walkthrough at some part. Now, there's a dollhouse view as well, and I'm going to show that. Talk about that dollhouse view, Richard, and really how that is made, because it looks incredible, man.
Yeah, so ultimately it's a program called Matterport. That's where we go in. We take a 360 camera, and once you enter the home, you take 360 of the entire house. So it's just like you were actually walking through the actual home itself. Especially during these times, if you can't, real estate agents depend on showings really to sell the homes to their clients. And you'll see a lot of videos that are, agents are going out and just videoing with their phones. What I'm able to do for real estate in general is create a 360 virtual tour to where they literally can send a link to their client. And then you as the client can sit there in front of the comfort of your home or wherever you may be and literally walk through that home or construction site or wherever the case may be that you're trying to view.
Richard, this is incredible. I saw it last night. I'm still in this dollhouse view because I'm mesmerized by how it's like a three-dimensional look where you're looking at it down from the top on an eagle-eye view. You can rotate it around basically 360 degrees. There is a measurement tool in there to where if you were looking at wanting to buy a house and you needed a virtual tour and you wanted to look at it virtually without physically going out there, you can measure the actual floor plan or measure things there in the living room. Talk about just some of those features, which is incredible.
Yeah, so that's one of the things with Matterport is the ability to measure, and that's that's accurate up to an inch, really. So it's really accurate on a basis of what you're looking at, from jobs to construction jobs to real estate. Like you said, you're trying to figure out, is my TV going to fit in this space, or my couch going to fit on this wall? You're easily able just to click, measure that, and get an accurate measurement before you ever even walk into the home.
Yeah, this is incredible. I mean, I'm just having fun. The folks on the audio are missing out this morning if they're not on the Facebook Live. I'm having fun. I feel like I'm playing a video game walking through this house, man. Oh, Richard, as we continue to talk to Richard De La Vega here of ASA Imagery, it's not just drone aerial footage. We're talking about virtual tours. This is a package that would be huge for a lot of real estate agents. I know that some have started looking into this. Now you've got somebody local who is not only a professional but is dedicated to customer service that can take care of your needs. Richard, if you don't mind me asking, how long does something like this take to shoot? I know it depends on the size of the house, but like the one that I'm looking at here at Caprock Canyon, how long does something like that take to shoot?
So it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours on the shoot. Sometimes slower, sometimes, just depends on the conditions, but on average, about an hour. The same thing with any video or photography stuff. Usually I'm in and out of the house between an hour and 2 hours. And then on a good day, as long as everything goes well, your deliverables come back to you within 2-3 days.
Yeah, this is incredible. And the quality of the photos are just amazing. I'm assuming this is like a tripod, like a 360-degree camera. Do you mind telling us a little bit about the technology of how this works?
Yeah, so ultimately there's two applications. There's a camera. This specific house was shot with an actual Matterport camera. I also used another 360 camera for Wax. Ultimately, when the pictures are taken, they're uploaded into a secondary software, which in this case is Matterport software. That's what allows me to have the dollhouse effect. I also use a software called Kahlua that allows me to do 360. You may see some photos where actually I'll shoot 360 photos with a drone. I did one of the city of Gerald not too long ago, and I just shot one of Georgetown today that I'll post later. But it's 360 technology, and the availability for you to see and have that visual is really truly something that most have not seen before. And so it's up and coming. It's really, really good for the actual consumer.
Yeah, this is, there's, I've seen virtual tours before, Richard, but nothing as high quality and as 360 degrees as this is. I'm going through this here. For those that are listening on the audio app, but just to let you know, I'm basically virtually walking through a house. But this isn't just a camera like back in the day that panned from left to right and spliced things together. This is truly a feeling that you're in the middle of this house right now. And like I said, one of the really coolest features about this whole thing, it's not just that you can walk through this house, but then really getting what they call the dollhouse view, to where you can look at it as it's pieced together. It's just amazing how that technology, Richard, can stitch everything together and make it work. And it's just incredible, man. I'm blown away by this.
Yeah, it's definitely a great technology and something that's allowed, even on video production. You look at movies, what used to be when you talk about technology, what a commercial made, that you would have a crane, you would have all these different video production type pieces of equipment that would cost you tens of thousands of dollars, or even drone flights. I do, inspections in ultimately areas for different entities within the county and the city, and ultimately they hire me to do those, to just capture content for their production or creative production that would ultimately cost them tens of thousands of dollars, and ultimately would cost the taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars to do a flight because you're using a helicopter. This it's hundreds of dollars instead of thousands of dollars.
Man, this is really incredible. So how many of these, I just want to ask, because I know this is something new that you just launched, recently, how many of these virtual tours have you been able to do so far, or was this the first one?
So that was the first one. I'm just releasing this technology of something that we're adding to, that I actually offer. I think that this is something that gives the community a better aspect and a better ability to stay connected. So this is the first one. I've done several before, but this is the first one commercially that's been completed.
Yeah, this is pretty cool, man. It's like I want to have you come out and shoot my house just for the heck of it now. This is awesome, man. Well, we're talking again to Richard De La Vega this morning of ASA Imagery. It's not just drone footage, as you can tell. We're looking at virtual tours now. Richard, I wanted to ask you, you've been in the Georgetown area for a while. I've gotten to know you, of course, through John Montgomery and now joining the BNI group and just the wonderful folks that I've met in that organization. What has really sold you on Georgetown, man? We live in such a wonderful community. What's really sold you on this community?
The community itself. It's like I said, I was born here. I was born in the old hospital that's been converted to, several different things over the years. I remember Blue Hole. That was the spot to go when I was a kid, and McKinley was a two-lane road then as well. And so it's definitely my home. I left. I was moved. Obviously, my family sent dad jobs change or whatever. We went to East Texas, and that's where I went to school. And actually, Huntsville is where I went. Last probably 6 years of school. So. It's but it always brought me back here because there's no place I've ever been. I've lived in Wisconsin and other places. There's no place that I've ever lived or been involved in that the community was so tight and so complete as Georgia.
That's cool. Yeah, and I feel bad because you and I had talked, several months ago, and I totally forgot that you pretty much grew up here in this community, man. So, what's been some of the biggest changes that you've seen here in Georgetown?
People. Just the amount of people and the growth of take Blue Hole, for instance. Years ago, that was a place to go and drive, and you could, it's still a nice place, obviously, but it's changed with the times. But just the aesthetics of the community itself and Georgetown has changed so much.
Yeah, it's grown a lot. It's still of course, a wonderful community. The growth. A lot of folks say, well, the growth brings problems. I think the growth brings a lot of great benefits because, as you know, growing. You said that you went off to hunt. Did you go to Georgetown High School, Richard?
No, I didn't go to school here. I went to school in East Texas and then in Huntsville.
Did you go to
Northeast Texas and then Huntsville?
Did you go to college at Sam?
No, I was in middle school and
I got you. Okay.
in Huntsville. Yeah.
Okay, I got you, man.
Yeah. No, I went to most of my school in East Texas or in Northeast Texas.
Okay.
Seagoville.
Awesome. Okay, great, man. Well, again, we're talking to Richard De La Vega this morning of ASA Imagery, one of our great sponsors here on HRN, and also does so much for this community. He's been a part of this community for a very long time. He knows the community. You mentioned that old hospital building. Are you talking about the one that was across from, I guess it was Kent's Snack Shop, and Bruno's Bite to Eat over there where, the original, you're talking about the original hospital there on Highway 29, right?
Correct. I was born there, and my son and daughter two of my kids were born in the new hospital. Yeah, but the one on 29, it's changed several times.
Man, that's crazy. So my mom went to nursing school. Back then, they paid you to go to nursing school because there was such a shortage of nurses. And back then, my mom got paid to go to nursing school, and that's where she started out, man, was right there. And before that building, I guess you're talking about the one, too, that had, that was elevated where you parked under it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before that, I think it was the old house that was right next to it. Like there was a house that was attached to that thing on the right side, and that was like the original hospital way back in the day. And then they added on that wing with the elevated, where you parked under it. Now, of course, that all got tore down and turned into, I believe it's a lot of commercial businesses on the top or on the bottom, and then on the top, it's apartments that people can rent out now.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. It's changed a lot, though.
Was that snack? Do you remember that snack shop that used to be across? It was like, I forget what it was called, but when I was a kid, it was Bruno's Bite to Eat, and then it was called Kent's Snack Shop. Do you remember any of those?
No, sir.
Yeah, that may have been whenever you had, as you were talking about, as you got a little bit older and went over to East Texas for school and things. That may have been that. I remember going there with my dad, though, man. So it's incredible to see the growth and just so many wonderful folks in our community that are doing things, that are making things happen. Richard, of course, one of those guys. Richard, talk a little bit more. There may be some folks that are just joining us. We're talking to Richard De La Vega this morning of ASA Imagery, someone that's vested in this community, that's been here for a while, that loves this community, that does not only just drone and aerial photography, but also does virtual tours and photography for real estate. Richard, talk a little bit more. If folks want to get in touch with you, how do they find you? I've got your website, of course, but tell us about your website and other ways that folks can get in touch with you.
So ultimately, the ways to reach out is I guess it would be three. That's the asaimagery.com, and then you can reach me at my email, asaimagery@gmail.com. And then, of course, you can always call me at 512-630-4376. Or you can reach me on Facebook, message me that way. A lot of people communicate that way, but text, that the number that I just gave, 512-630-4376, it also receives text messages.
And then one final time, just an overview of the services that you offer. You know, we've talked about aerial photography and your real estate virtual tours. Talk a little bit more in depth about those so folks out there that are listening will know exactly what you guys are doing.
Sure. If you're a real estate agent or you have a real estate piece of property that you're wanting to sell, if you know, check my site out, check my Facebook out, you'll see videos of different real estate agents that actually have utilized video production. But really and truly, the real estate, construction, progression, marketing, and events, and then hopefully once we get it back up and running, we're all hugging each other again. Then events, we'll have a big event. We can utilize those services, and I'd love to give back for that. But for right now, real estate and construction is the main two availability of what I can do based on orders that are currently in place.
And of course, there's been a lot of that, going on here in Georgetown. So a lot of opportunities there for you, of course, to keep busy. Hey, I wanted to chat with you, Richard. We always have a lot of fun here on the show, if you don't mind. We've talked a lot about your business and what you're doing. Of course, we want to promote that. I always talk about the National Day of here on HRN. Every day, it's a national day of something. Now, you didn't do this, Richard. You could have. You could have. You could have, because you're wearing the professional shirt. Now, you could have wore pajama bottoms and we would have never known. Today is National Wear Your Pajamas to Work Day. And I would assume that there's a lot of people wearing their pajamas to work today because they're working from home, man.
I actually saw, I had a meeting with an attorney not too long ago, and he had a nice suit top on and shirt and tie and coat and shorts.
I've seen some Ken Covington, who does the show, of course, and the co-founder of this show. He does a show with us on Wednesdays over at Ken's Guitars. It was funny because he was wearing like a nicer shirt, but then he got up. I guess he didn't realize he was on camera. He got up and he had on his Longhorn sweatpants the other morning, and I was just laughing, man. It was hilarious.
That's great. That's great.
Today is also, here's a couple more. Today is also National Healthcare Decisions Day. I don't know what that is. National Orchid Day. National High Five Day. Man, see, I'm missing giving people high fives, man. High fives and hugs is what I like to. We can't do that. Here's a really important one, though. It's National Get to Know Your Customers Day. And so I want to say this. If you're a business owner today, take a few moments, get on the phone, and if you've got your customers, get on the phone and just call your customers and ask how they're doing. That's my encouragement today. Get on the phone today, and I'm going to do that. In fact, I have that on my schedule today to call several of our sponsors and just check up on them. And I encourage you to do that today. Is get on the phone, call your customers, and just ask how they're doing. Ask if they need anything. Don't try to sell them anything. Just ask how they're doing. Get to know your customers today.
That's a great thing, bro.
So that is something for business owners. Do that today. I'm going to encourage you, especially right now. We need to get to know each other and make sure that we're all doing okay. It's also National Eggs Benedict Day and National Bean Counter Day. I have no idea what that is. Oh, it's the accountant. The accountant little. I don't even know what it's called. The bean counter.
Yeah. The money guy.
Yeah, but it's National Bean Counter Day. It's every accountant's. Yeah, okay, because it's the day after taxes. Usually, today's not that day because it's been extended a couple of months. So it's normally the National Bean Counter Day is every accountant's favorite day of the year, except this year. After the flutter and flurry of preparing taxes right up until the stroke of midnight, these diligent number crunchers are well past due for a day off. When I had my IT company, Richard, we did a lot of work for accountants. And I remember how I was stressed out this time of the year as much as they were because I had to make sure that their systems did not go down.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, we had one accountant that's server crashed like 2 days before the 15th. And I was scrambling to get them back online, and luckily it happened overnight, and we got them back up and running the next morning, and they really didn't even know anything happened because our software told us that they had an issue. And so we got them back up and running before the morning. But, oh, man, I'll tell you what, I do not miss those days of IT, man.
I bet not.
Yeah, that industry can take a hike as far as I'm concerned, man. The term being...
Yeah, I bet those accountants don't miss the days of paper either. Used to all that stuff was done by hand.
Yeah, no joke, man. Well, the term bean counter hasn't always referred to reliable accountants. Like many phrases, it was much more literal before it morphed into the idiom we use today. Not unlike meeting a customer at the deli counter or fabric counter to complete their order, clerks met consumers at the bean counter. Huh. However, over time, the phrase became attributed to accountants who watched each and every penny, or bean is what they called the pennies, that went in and out of the business. So that's it. April the 16th, it's a day to take a break, except this year, you'll have to wait. When did it get extended to, June or July? I don't remember this year.
July, I think.
So they won't get to celebrate that until July the 16th this year. So, well, Richard, man, I appreciate you being on the show. Looking forward to just some more exciting things that you have been working on at ASA Imagery. Rob Kitty giving us a virtual high five over at the Georgetown Beard Club. We appreciate him. We've been talking to Richard De La Vega at ASA Imagery this morning. For more information, you can visit them online, and I highly encourage you to do it because there's a lot of really neat things on Richard's website. It's asaimagery.com. That's ASAIMAGERY.com. You can also like him on Facebook, and if you're on the Facebook live stream, I highly encourage you to go ahead, and I'm going to put his link here that goes directly to his page, and let's help Richard try to get to 1,000 likes here on his Facebook page. So just click on the ASA Imagery and then hit that like button. And what's really cool about it is you may say, look, I don't really need any photography services. Well, look, you may know of someone who does. But, Richard, what's more important on that page is you're posting updates with the really cool projects that you've been working on. So there may be folks out there that, they may not be in need of your services, but they can go to that Facebook page and they can look at the really awesome stuff that you're doing. One thing that you got to work on, and if you can talk about this really quick, was the Rotary Club Field of Honor. That was a really cool project, Richard.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that ultimately was something that really and truly was a blessing for them to, Virginia to let me be a part of. And I was, I was really blessed to be a part of that and see the folks and the community that came together, and ultimately the end result that comes out of that, as far as it truly is just watching everybody come together and being a part of a cause that really means something for this community, not only this community, but for the entire nation.
Yeah, and I was looking here. I was trying to find that video of the setup of that here just for a few moments, and I was trying to find that. I don't know if I can find the actual video. Did you put that on your Facebook page, Richard?
I did. It's it's been a while ago, and there's been lots of posts since then. But yes, sir, it was put on the page back in November.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and try to find that. Now, this is what I'm showing here in just a minute. And again, if you're on the audio, know that you're not going to be able to see this, but I'll describe it. There was and you can describe this for us once I get it up and going here, Richard. You did a time lapse of the setup of the Field of Honor. Let me mute the music here on. Give me 1 second here, because I can't hear you if I don't mute the audio. I don't know how to mute the audio. Hold on 1 second, Richard. We'll bring us back. There we go. Okay, Richard, so what I'm showing here is a time lapse of the Field of Honor setup. Can you tell us how you did that, man? That's really cool.
Sure. Actually, so that was done with it's a sports camera. Basically, it's called an Osmo Action that I set up and ran time lapse on, and also did the video production on it to put it all together, put music overlay with it, just to show that what it takes in the short amount of time that you saw that video. That was, a large amount of time that, firefighters, first responders, police, things of that nature, community volunteers, they went out and put those flags up and spent a majority of their day making sure that visually was appealing for everybody, and also had the meaning behind it. So I wanted to make sure that I captured, kind of what it takes to get that done.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I just showed that there on the Facebook live stream. So, well, Richard, before we let you go, man, just wanted to give you a final opportunity. I appreciate you being on the show this morning. Of course, we're going to do what we can here at HRN to continue to promote the great work that you are doing in the community and with your awesome business, man. Just final opportunity, any final thoughts and closing remarks this morning, Richard? Appreciate you being on, man.
Hey, man, thanks, Rob, for allowing me to come on and talk today. Guys, I just want to let everybody know that, my slogan is a new point of view. And so whether, kind of like Rob said, whether you need photography or you don't need photography, the reality is if you have a thought and a vision, let's talk about it and together let's come up with an idea and a new point of view for your next project. So,
awesome. And again, that website, asaimagery.com. It's asaimagery.com. And also like their Facebook page. I posted it there on Facebook Live. Super simple. You just search for ASA Imagery. Hey, how did you get the ASA name, by the way? I don't think I've ever asked you that, man.
Yeah, so ultimately a step ahead is what it means, and that was created in my other companies a step ahead. And so ASA stands for a step ahead. So a step ahead imagery. I'm one step ahead of everybody else, trying to be always.
Love that, man. Well, Richard, looking forward to seeing more of your awesome projects. We'll continue to promote you on our page, of course, at Hip Radio Network Georgetown, that on Facebook. And you can hear Richard on our network on the station usually about 5 times a day or so, at least 4 times, but sometimes 5 times a day. And before we let you go, Richard, I'm going to play that commercial spot here really quick, and so folks can hear that. So here is Richard De La Vega and ASA Imagery. Here's his commercial spot.
Want to capture the eye of your next potential client? ASA Imagery, a new point of view. We specialize in capturing jaw-dropping aerial and ground photography, as well as stunning video production, marketing, real estate, events, construction, and now virtual tours. Whatever your next project may be, ASA Imagery has you covered.
My name is Richard, the owner of ASA Imagery. I personally guarantee your satisfaction with your next project. Visit us online at asaimagery.com. Again, that's asaimagery.com.
Awesome. Richard, you wrote that script, man. It turned out really awesome, and I think it really clearly gets the point across about what you're doing. So, Richard, appreciate you, man. I'll see you around, of course, at the BNI groups and all of our fun stuff that we do. And if you need anything, feel free to reach out. And one last thing I want to ask you, though, real quick, is I ask everybody who comes on our show, for those that are listening, for those that are watching, what can we do to help you right now, man?
So let's just communicate with me and let's talk about how we can help each other.
Awesome. I love it, Richard. Appreciate you, and we'll continue to promote you. Richard De La Vega, ASA Imagery. Have a wonderful, blessed day, man. Good to have you on the show this morning. Well, we'll step aside. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll bring Courtney back on to the show here. Time now is 8:45 a.m. This is Good Morning Georgetown on the Hip Radio Network. We'll be right back here in just a few moments. Stay with us, friends.
Georgetown forecast from the Hip Radio Network Weather Center. Partly cloudy skies today with daytime highs approaching 75. South winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 61 tonight. Overcast skies. Cloudy again tomorrow. Chance for scattered thunderstorms 68. Upper 60s Saturday, mid 80s by Sunday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 46 degrees.
Broadcasting worldwide from the Ashby Real Estate Broadcast Studio. This is Hip Radio Network, Georgetown, your hometown station.
All right, every morning, got to put on the good music this morning. Live here on Hip Radio Network, Georgetown. It's Georgetown's hometown station. Appreciate you joining us here as we're keeping you up to date with what's going on here in Georgetown, not only throughout the community with events and more, but also keeping you up to date with our business friends and all that they are doing in our community as well. Hey, Chris, are you out there?
I am. Can
you
hear me?
Yeah, I got you. It's just a static. I'm glad the video's not working because you're driving right now. You're on your way to Killeen.
I'm almost to my destination. I'll be there in about a minute.
Man, that is awesome. So what are you doing this morning? We'll let you go here in a little bit. What are you up to this morning, man? We had you, of course, you're our co-host here of Courtney Home Inspections, but what are you doing this morning in Killeen, man?
Well, my other inspector, Roland Marino, had booked a home inspection here in Killeen, and they needed a termite inspection. So, of course, I do licensed termite inspections as well, offer those to my clients. And he just asked me to come out and do the termite inspection with him and or for him for his inspection today. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'll only be up here for about a half hour, 30 to an hour, and then I'm heading back home.
How do those termite inspections work, man? If you could educate us a little bit on those.
Well, in my normal home inspection, I'm actually looking for termite damage anyways. But basically, you got to go and map out the house. You got to go and do a diagram of the outside of the house. You got to look for conducive conditions or conditions which would promote termites or wood destroying insects into the house. And then you've actually got to go inspect for damage or active infestation of wood destroying insects. And you've got to really identify the type of insect that is present if you see any active infestation. So it's pretty simple. It's not as hard as a home inspection, but you do got to go to school for it. You got to get your specialty license and work for a pest control company in order to do it. Wow,
that's pretty cool, man. Well, Chris, we appreciate you. I know you got to head in there in just a minute. Just a quick shout out to from you, kind of your final thoughts here this morning, and how can people get in touch with you, man?
Best way to get in touch with me is on my website, www.courtneyhomeinspection.com, or you can call me at 512-253-4480. I do want to say that with everyone being at home, I am offering also a 1 hour assessment of the major systems in the house, AC, water heater, any signs of foundation, gas leaks, for anybody who's just interested to give a quick health check of their house. That's something I can do safely and practice safe distancing. There's been a lot of gas leaks I found, bad water heaters getting ready to fail. So if anyone's interested in just doing a quick 1 hour assessment of their house and just get their major systems checked on, give me a call. I'd be happy to help you guys out.
And Chris, I think it's important. I'm glad that you brought that up because most people only think about a home inspection when they're buying or selling a home.
Yeah, I was on a home inspection the other day. House was occupied. I went up in the attic. Water heater was about ready to fail. And I mean, it was so rusted out, it could have burst any minute. And the ancillary drip pan that's underneath the water heater wasn't going to hold those 50 gallons that was going to just come rushing out. It would have probably destroyed the ceilings, the floors, probably would have went between the second to the first story. I told the realtor to reach out to the other realtor to say, hey, have them replace this water heater as soon as possible because it's going to fail any minute.
Man,
so
that's cool.
If you don't get in the attic, you don't know this stuff. You know, I've seen gas leaks under kitchen ranges that have been leaking for years, and they just didn't realize it.
Wow.
So it's just one of those safety things that you should really do.
Yeah, well, Chris, I'm glad you brought that up because, like I said, most people don't think about getting an inspection on their home unless they're buying or selling. There's a lot of things that happens even in 2 or 3 years after you buy a home. I've had my house for 15 years, and with the limited knowledge that I gained, and I say limited because I didn't go all in like you did with home inspections, but when I was in that class with you, I learned quite a bit, and there's a lot of things in my house, my friend, that need some attention to, and yep. I didn't go through everything like you did, so one of these days I'm going to hire you to come out and do an inspection, and maybe we can video it and put it up there for folks to see what's going on, so that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be fun. Yeah. That'd be fun. I'd give you a freebie on that one if you videoed it and did a nice little production for me. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we'll consider doing that, man. So, well, Chris, appreciate you, man, and all that you do here, not just for the Georgetown community, but we appreciate you being our co-host here every Thursday on Good Morning Georgetown. And be safe out there, man. Don't let the termites bite you.
Nah, won't do that. Yeah, I'm more worried about the spiders in the crawl space.
All right, Chris. Well, hey, man, have a blessed day, and we'll catch up with you next week, man.
You got it, man. Have a good one.
Once again, that's Chris Courtney, Courtney Home Inspections. We appreciate him being on the show this morning and just being a part of our show, honestly, every Thursday morning right here on HRN Georgetown, Georgetown's hometown station, as we're trying to keep you up to date, like I said, friends, what's going on in Georgetown and keep you up to date with the latest news, events, and more. There really hasn't been a whole lot of news worthy as far as coronavirus here in Georgetown area over the past few days. Our website, we have not updated it with those stories here in the past couple of days, but we do have some information that we'll put out there a little bit later with some of the latest numbers that we have received from the Williamson County Cities and Health District. Hey, I wanted to mention businesses out there. And look, if you're a sole proprietor, maybe you don't have employees and you've been worrying, saying, how am I going to get help? There's several options. One of them, I actually applied for it yesterday through Chase. It is the Paytech, I don't even know why I said Paytech. It's the Paycheck Protection Program called PPP. And they finally released information. This is through the SBA, and it's also a loan that can be forgiven if the money is utilized for payroll or for rent, mortgage, those kind of business expenses. So if you're a business owner, maybe you're even a freelancer, maybe you're a contract worker, and you're out of work right now, go apply to these programs. You can also apply for unemployment with the Texas Workforce Commission, depending on certain things. You can check them out. You just search for TWC on Google. It's Texas Workforce Commission, twc.texas.gov. Look, it's not going to hurt anything to apply to these programs if you're hurting right now, and I highly encourage, if you're out of work, if you have a business and you're not generating income, apply to these programs. It's very important that you apply right away, though, because what's happening is the funding from a lot of these programs may run out soon. Congress only allotted so much money, and there's no chatter right now about extending any additional financial aid. And some numbers yesterday said that PPP program may have already ran out of money. I still encourage you, if you've got an opportunity, go apply to that as soon as you can. If you're a small business owner, if you have employees, of course, apply to it. But I'm specifically talking this morning to those of you that may be worried, saying, look, I work for myself. I don't have employees. None of these things fall under me. Well, the SBA has said, Small Business Administration has said, on April the 10th, they released information that if you are a sole proprietor, you have a business that doesn't have employees, you can still apply to the Paycheck Protection Program. The best way to do it, honestly, is to try to get a hold of your bank. They're the ones that are working to issue these through the SBA. I did it through Chase. Very simple online. I just searched for Chase PPP program on Google. It took me to a page, and Chase made the process extremely simple. You have to have a Chase business account, and it has to be open before February, I believe it's 15th of this year, though, in order to have that work. But again, apply to that. There's a lot of you that are small business owners that are struggling right now. There's a lot of us out there. Apply to these programs. Again, it's the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP. The best way to get started is try to get a hold of your bank and ask them the direction that you should go. Apply to that, though, and I think that hopefully you'll have an opportunity there to get a little bit of funding and help out. And the thing is, the SBA is going to forgive some of these loans if those monies are used for certain things, such as payroll or mortgage or rent related to your business, utilities related to your business. I'm not the expert on it, so talk to your banker, and they can give you more information. I just wanted to throw that out there because I didn't know until yesterday, and I applied to that program because as a freelancer, things are tough. I did not think that there was any programs out there that were going to help freelancers or 1099 employees. Well, there are. So, again, look into that. Also, if you're out of work right now, maybe you've worked in the restaurant business and you're in the service industry. Maybe you're a musician. I'm going to encourage musicians especially right now. If you're out of work, you're out of gigs, you're not generating revenue, apply to some of these programs because they are available. Apply to the TWC. There is federal money set aside for unemployment. It doesn't have to go through the state. It's funded. You have to go through your state to get it, but it's funded by the federal government as part of these stimulus packages. It just takes you stepping out there and doing it. That is the only way that it's going to get started. How are we helping people here in Georgetown? I wanted to tell you this morning, as I plug it every single show, if you are a business who needs help, there are programs from the city of Georgetown and the Chamber of Commerce that you can apply to, but you have to fall under certain categories. Those categories are, 1, you've got to be in city limits. 2, you have to be registered with the Secretary of State, which effectively means you have to be incorporated. And 3, you can't be a home-based business. So maybe you don't fit those categories and you're trying to figure out how to get help. Well, I just said apply. Look, if you're out of work, apply to the TWC for unemployment. Secondly, apply to that PPP program through your bank. Call your bank and ask them. Third, we want to help out here on Hip Radio Network Georgetown. As we're community-driven, we are focused on this community. As someone who's born and raised here in Georgetown, I can tell you right now we live literally in the greatest city on planet Earth. We've heard that from Mayor Ross several times. This is a time where the community can really come together and help out each other. If you're a business that needs help, you can benefit from our auction that we're going to be holding here coming up in May. And you can visit our website at hrngeorgetown.com/support if you need help. As I've said before, be brutally honest about your needs. If there's money that you need, you let us know what you need. If there's certain things that you disclose to us that you don't want to be made public, just put that in the notes. There's a section for that. But again, if you're a business owner or you know of a business owner, visit hrngeorgetown.com/support. The second part of this is that auction that we are holding. We still need items. I believe we're up to about 25 or so items right now, but we need a lot more. We need as many as we can to have a very diverse auction that's going to interest a lot of people. We're going to hold this auction online in May. It's going to be done through Facebook Live and through a service that we have teamed up with. But look, if you have an item that you would like to donate to the auction, and maybe you say, Rob, I don't have an item, I just provide service. Well, then donate a gift certificate or a value of service to the auction if you are able to. You can visit hrngeorgetown.com/auction to donate those items. The proceeds from these items will be dispersed in one of three ways. One of them is, if you donate an item, maybe you're a business that needs help. You can choose for 100% of those items to go into the auction. You can also choose for 100% of the 100% of the revenue that's generated from that item to be dispersed to everybody who fills out that form that needs financial assistance at hrngeorgetown.com/support. The other way is you can keep 50% of the revenue of that item. If you need help, you can keep 50% of the revenue, donate the other 50% to the rest of those who have signed up at hrngeorgetown.com/support. And third and finally, there's no shame in this. You may donate an item, but you need help. You need help. And you say, look, I would love to help others, but I just really need help. That's what we're providing this platform for. You can donate an item, and you can elect to keep 100% of the proceeds for your business. So that is how it works, friends. Super simple to get involved. That's one way that you can give back to the business community here in Georgetown. There may be musicians out there that need help also. There may be a wide array of people. Look, get involved in the auction and just let us know what your needs are at hrn.com or hrngeorgetown.com/support. Finally, if you are a business who is open, and we're going to update that website later today, I've put in a couple more. If you are a business who is open and you want people to know that you're open right now, just as our friends at Rio Bravo Mexican Cafe did a few days ago, visit hrngeorgetown.com/open. That is hrngeorgetown.com/open. Those are three very tangible ways that we are trying to give back to the business community and to let folks know that things are alive and well here in Georgetown, Texas. Friends, I appreciate you for joining us every single morning. I've got an exciting show, and we're getting it scheduled, and I've got to get back with him. We don't have it scheduled yet, but hopefully soon, and by soon I mean hopefully here within the next week, I'd like to have a friend of mine who used to be my youth minister, by the way, be on the show. He is a tornado chaser, and we've reached out to him, and he said he would love to be on the show. And so hopefully we will get Jeff Mangum on the show here within the next week or so and talk about his storm chasing adventures and just all of the awesome things that he has been up to. He's been in the Georgetown area, been here pretty much his whole life. He still lives very close to this area, and I would love to have him on the show. So make sure that you stay up to date with what we're doing here at HRN. You can also visit our website, hrngeorgetown.com, and then sign up for our mailing list. We've got about 200 people on that mailing list already. We just launched it about 2 weeks ago, and very thankful for everybody who signed up on that. We are keeping you up to date, again, with what's happening here in Georgetown. It's HRN Georgetown Hip Radio Network. It's Georgetown's hometown station. Friends, as I end every broadcast, I want to remind you today that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there this morning needs you. Good morning, Georgetown, and God bless you. Frank, thanks for chiming in this morning. He went to school with Jeff. Frank, good to hear from you, buddy. Appreciate all that you do, man. and everybody else that was joining us here, not only on Facebook Live, but on the app as well. Make sure to download that app, by the way, Hip Radio Network, on App Store or Google Play. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7 a.m., right back here. Good morning, Georgetown, and God bless you. Thanks for being part of the show today. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.